Welcome back to the afternoon session. I hope you had some time to refresh and also reflect on whatever we have done so far. Um, I know uh, the way you've been interacting, I know you've been following and taking some things away. I will encourage you to keep doing that, but ask more questions so that you would appreciate and understand everything. It's more of practical than anything. And so I want you to make it as practical as possible and ask all the necessary questions. So far, so good. I am very comfortable with the way you've been moving on. And so the first point is I want you to share, each one of you, share with me, each one, share with me some of the things you have learned from our discussion, something that you were not sure of, but you've had some clarification, something you never heard of, but have heard and taken that into consideration, and something that you knew about it, but this, whatever we have discussed has confirmed it for you, and therefore you want to go ahead and use it. So I'll pick each one's view, and then we can move on. So if you have any points, I'm picking first something that you knew and confirmed in our discussion. Okay, so if there's something you knew already but have been confirmed, just give me your point and I'll put it down. We'll come to, after this, we'll come to something that you have never heard of and it has been mentioned here and we think it's a good thing to know. Yeah, Blossom.
Yeah, Doctor, thank you very much. I have always known that at HR, we have to plan successes, like we earmark people, we groom them for future roles. But to come up with a schedule to actually write down the people we are earmarking and all that is something new I've learned today, which will be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it new or
It's new.
so
Like I know
you
that
knew already?
we,
So
but to
okay,
come up
so
with a real schedule with names and all that
okay,
to
okay, schedule. Okay.
Mhm.
Possession schedule. Good. Any other thing that anybody knows, but it's been confirmed? New already, but and have been confirmed.
Um, I've also known about the workforce planning, but then the holistic
Okay.
bit where you spoke about the review of the organization's strategic focus and determining the new
Okay.
competencies. That
Okay.
is with the future roles, determining the new
Okay.
competencies between the incumbent and the future roles and review of the org chart. Then you have to
Okay.
even in demand and supply, you have to do the same demand and supply analysis with HR as well.
Okay.
It's an eye opener, and I think that's my takeaway. I'd had an idea already about workforce planning, but this holistic bit of it is a key takeaway from me.
Thank you very much, Francis.
Thank you.
Frances. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Something you knew and confirmed for you. Okay, Eugene.
Yeah, so
Eugene.
yes, I knew about the talent pool, but this
Okay.
training has actually brought more light to it, because when I knew about the talent pool, I was only thinking maybe you only need to identify one talent for the succession planning depending on the position. But this training has made me know that you can identify even 2 or more talents to take up the same position.
Good, good. Eugene, we are happy here. Okay, the next person, anybody? If you don't have it, that's okay, but we would move to the next, which is something completely new to you. That is so another one we'll pick. But who? Okay, we have 4 people, 3 people. Any other? It means the rest you have something in the area of new concepts. Okay, any new thing that anybody discovered and is helping? Totally new.
Yeah, so this one is
Yeah.
totally new to me. I didn't even think about applying it, but to determine the core competencies and the technical competencies is something new that I've learned today.
Okay, determination of core and technical competencies. Good. Okay. Yes.
I all along thought that the committee should be restricted to the executive level. But now I've learned that we should have one at the board committee level, then at the executive level, and even more.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be necessarily restricted to just the executive. And then HR shouldn't just sit and do. So that's a new thing I've learned.
Good.
So I'll use it to
Good.
update
Thank you,
our
Franca.
policy. Thank you.
So I also picked on the new manning level, where you have to subtract existing from the required to get the gap.
Okay, a new manning level. Okay.
Yes.
That's
something that I've learned today. And then with the budget,
okay.
Where recruitment and training cost goes into the budget. Once you have done
budget, okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. Budget preparation. Okay.
The workforce planning process is something new that I'm getting used to, and think the processes.
Okay. Okay. Process. Okay, good. Move. So at least we can associate ourselves with some of the points and maybe carry it on. Good.
I think one of the major things I am really picking away is the budgeting aspects and also getting managers buy-in, because I think it's very critical that we prepare a budget for it and get signed off by management.
Okay. Budget and management buy-in. Good.
I think the only thing that I picked up that was interesting and perhaps new for me is when you described the roles and the responsibilities. I think just based on my experience, I've seen HR drive the process, but now from what you presented, it looks like departmental heads have a responsibility and, leadership as well.
Okay. Varied risk.
Okay. One new thing that I've learned is the cross-functional movement. The fact that successes must not be from the particular departments; they can be from another department. They just have to meet the competency and the technical requirements.
Yeah, cross-functional roles. So when they move, you don't cry. It may not be good, but you may not like it, but go and do it. And that will help. I remember I was with a company and I was a HR learning and development manager, but my boss called me and said, Richard, you've been talking about how to manage, how to supervise and that. Now we have a role in laundry and go and be a laundry supervisor. I said, what? Laundry supervisor? So, okay. So I went and did laundry supervisor for I think a year or so. But it helped. And I was performing even better than when I was doing my learning and development. And then one day there was a role, safety role, head of safety for the whole organization, a big manufacturing organization. And safety is normally done by engineers. And so why am I? Then they said, the man is going on, leave for 1 year outside the country. Then I heard my name in a meeting that Richard is taking over. Oh, but I'm not an engineer. He said, no, you have worked in the laundry before. You know what happens. The people bring their uniform, they complain, they talk and all that. So go and do that. And that helped me. So sometimes just do it and circumstance will reward you accordingly. So when they say go somewhere, go. And that's very, very important. Good. Can we move on, or there's something that you want us to look at? Okay, so thank you very much for refreshing every one of us with your ideas and issues. We would want to move on with our discussions. Very soon, we would want one of you to finish with search process and invite us to come and support with this knowledge you have acquired. Okay, good. Before I move on, is there anything any question somebody want to ask? Okay, so we are all have gotten succession planning schedule. Something that we knew but has been confirmed, and holistic workforce planning, talent pool, we knew of it, but it has been clarified for us. And then new things, determination of, yes, patience, yeah.
Yes, please. Before you move on, I want to know the distinction between succession plan and replacement plan.
What? Succession planning and what?
Replacement plan.
Oh, replacement. Okay, okay. Now, okay, replacement is just giving people roles, different role to play, because you place somebody on a role when he comes. If you are doing a replacement for the individual, 2 ways. I want to explain it in 2 ways. If you are doing a placement for somebody, other somebody is going and then you replace the individual, you bring a new person to do the job. You are replacing that person. The other side that you also need to do, you can think of, is also doing a replacement by asking somebody to go and fill a role. From that person's perspective, he's doing his replacement. Okay, so replacement is just making sure there's no gap, there's no opening, or making sure that the gap you have created, or by some circumstances, you are putting somebody there. It's not a new job. It's just that you are placing somebody there, or you are replacing somebody who was doing something earlier on. Are you okay?
So can we say that replacement is temporal and succession planning is permanent? From the explanation you have just given.
Yes. Okay. You are asking whether placement is temporal and replacement is temporal and succession planning is permanent. Is that it? Okay. Okay. It depends upon the circumstance. What are you doing? The the vacant place, is it just to put somebody there for a moment? That's okay. Then that you can say is a temporary one. But you can also put somebody there to be there as a permanent role to perform. Once a vacancy is there, a job, there's an opening, you need to replace the person who was doing it. So it can be temporary or it can be permanent. A replacement is not succession planning. If it's in accordance with, for example, if you are replacing somebody because you're replacing a position because the person has left and it's a short term and it's on your plan, that replacement is part of succession planning. That replacement is part of. If it's not part of the succession planning and it's just temporary and you want to make sure the place is cared for, that one is just an ordinary replacement. It's not succession planning. Once your replacement is coming from the succession schedule, it's a succession planning because you have earmarked the person for a short-term succession or long-term succession. Now the place is open and you go into your succession plan and you put somebody there. That one is a succession planning move or replacement. In a situation where it is just temporary, something happened, then go and do it. Let's see how it goes. Then the person goes to do it. Or be there. That is your next permanent role. So be there. He may not be on the succession plan, but because of some circumstances, he is going to replace somebody. Or, in a particular role. So it can be permanent and it can be negative. But the difference between successors and replacement is that once you are sent there because you are on succession plan, that's why it's a succession move. Because you are there, you are a immediate successor, you are a short-term successor, you are a long-term successor. The place is vacant, and then they push you. You are a short-term, or you are immediate. Go and do it. That one is permanent, and it's succession. Sorry, it's part of succession planning. Are you clear?
Yes, please. Thank
you. Okay, thank you, Francis.
I was just going to use a situation here in my industry. Sometimes you have staff, one or two staff vacating posts. So, and because for instance, it's a barman, the barman just waits, gets his salary and vacates his post. And we need a barman to sort out our guests there. So that we hire to fill that vacancy. So that is a replacement. But then when it's a successor, you have already clarified that bit is someone's role, and the person who has to succeed the incumbent could be because an incumbent is retiring early on medical grounds or is not going to be available for the job. Whoever succeeds that person is more of something we have in our succession planning efforts. So that's how I thought to explain that bit, given what happens in my institution.
In your you are right. You are right. This is clear. You've made it because it's practical, so it's clear now. So that is how it is. So succession planning will deal with your schedules and your plans for succession. So once you pull from your a pool of successors, you are fulfilling your succession plan or succession schedule. That is it. But if it's a temporary thing or something that you even, and I said key roles, sometimes you plan for key roles. So if the role is not very key and it's a lower level role, then you can do replacement and leave it for people to perform and come to a level where they can even be nominated to be part of the full pool. Okay, any other? So we have all these for us, and then we also have determination of core technical competencies. It's a new thing, and we were discussing that this is an area that companies may have to have somebody to train HR people to do it. If you don't want to pay so much money to consultant, you can have somebody to train the trainer, and you can do it. Then board involvement in succession planning, good. New manning level, good. Cross-functional roles, fantastic. And we fear to cross most of the time. Budget determination, critical. And HR want to run away from figures. Don't run away from figures. Do it. And let finance people be your friends. You need to befriend them so that they can help you and also show you how to do things. And let me tell you that anytime you go to your boss, the CEO or whatever, speak their language. Their language is finance. So if you're going to talk to them, start with, I'm looking at my schedule. The employee cost ratio is now like this. And then you sit, is that so? Oh, the ratio has gone up. Aha, then you understand. Go to finance. They will give you the lines. Employee cost per whatever, improvement in, they will give you. Then you go and talk to your boss and he will be so happy that now you are in line with the way he thinks. And then workforce process, good. Budget and management buy-in, and this is critical, management buy-in and your budget. Varied responsibility that we have for dealing with succession planning. Good. Let's move on. Come again. New money levels. Yeah. What is it? This, the new money levels. Somebody said, look, he has learnt, or she has learnt, is it Francis or somebody who said that? That the new money level, that is when you have gotten your gap, you add it to your existing money level, and you get your new money level. And that works for everyone. The next major thing we need to do to be able to have very good successes, potential successes, I told you that you must categorize them. Immediate, short, and long-term successes. I want you to have some description, criteria to say, this person is in the long-term succession pool. This person is in the short term, this person is in the immediate term. And I want to describe the long-term successes so that when you want to defend that, you can have some criteria. You may have somebody in the long-term succession, and that person, maybe you are thinking of the next 5 years, then even the next 10 years, the person can be head of department. And so looking at how he's showing the sparks, right from entry level. And so you think he's a long-term successor. So that person must be a promising person within his early years of employment who is showing terrific speed of progress in performance and competency development. In fact, you have some people who are like that. They enter and they are showing everything, so smart, and you could see that the person can learn fast and move on. And learning new things very fast. And so such people, sometimes you promote them quickly. And they have fast promotion right from day one. A well-rounded individual who has the flexibility and adaptability to make future functional moves. You could see that that person can work in other areas. And he has that adaptability to do that. You need to also think of that. And then this is the long-term person, a young person. Then we have let's continue. Let's continue. A long-term successor or successors have enthusiasm for and committed to learning and development activities. You could see that always asking questions, always asking, how can we do this? Oh, can't we change it this way? You could see it all over the person, and he's so anxious to know. Meets almost all the competency levels of his current role. That person has been able to do self-development and have been able to interact so well that and expose so well that the current role competency levels, he's there already. And then in tune with corporate values. And most of the time, when you don't have people who are in tune with corporate values, they cause confusion. friction and create problems for others. So we need to look at people who are in tune with corporate values. He's young in the organization, but he's really in bed with the corporate values. And you know, when the values, somebody is not demonstrating the values, the confusion that person creates for you, especially the HR, you need to go through some disciplinary procedures and all that. This is for the long-term successor. Questions, comment before we move on. The long-term successor, if you want to identify them, these are some of the descriptions you can look at and come up with a decision. So when somebody brings a long-term successor, a departmental head brings long-term successor, you may ask the person, do you think that this person is so promising? Do you think the person is well-rounded? Do you think the person is so enthusiastic about things he's doing? Meets almost all the competency levels of his current role? Is he in tune with corporate values? Is he somebody who is always doing what the values are saying? You can ask those questions and ask for evidence, and that helps you to take a decision. Or when you go to the committee meeting, you can use this one to answer why that person is a long-term successor, is seen as a long-term successor. Short-term successor, this person in 3 years, 5 years, he can succeed, and is very, very, very critical also. A more experienced person than a young potential who is making outstanding achievement and can move within business, function, or geography. So such a person, you can prepare him quickly for short-term succession. Well-rounded skill based with very little areas of improvement. You could see that is good. He needs some small touch for the next higher job. So he is on a special training program that will just bridge the gap and move on. And you could see that. So it's a short-term successor. Willingness to go the extra mile. He's so willing to go extra mile. And he's a team player as well. In tune with corporate values. Okay, short-term successor. Any comment on that? Short-term successor. In 3 years, you could be there. Any questions, comments? So you could see that these characteristics, such profile, must be observed before you can identify them. And so their supervisors must do or must observe and come back with such nominations and defend it. Other than that, it will be just somebody naming somebody, bringing people and all that. And that will be all. Okay. Can we move on? Okay, Eugene.
Yeah, I just have a question on the short-term successor. Could a short-term successor be someone who is acting in the position until you get a substantive person?
Okay, an immediate successor can act in the place, except where if you don't have immediate here, then short-term successor can do that, can act. But by succession planning, go use your immediate successors list. Finish it before you go to long-term successors, short-term successors. If you don't have, then the short-term successor can be pushed up there, but know that sometimes they have some bruises, accidents on the way, because, okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments? Blossom.
What do you do if you can't identify anybody in your team?
Very good. Okay. Then internally, you may also want to look outside. If internally you have somebody who can be trained quickly or given accelerated development to come up. If you don't have that one, then think about an external success, somebody from external source. And let me make this point clear. Successors are not always internal people. Successors are also come from outside, can also come from outside. And when you have that problem, please go outside. And that's why HR must always look out for successors, whether they are outside or inside. Look out for them. And so that when you have a problem, you can go, and that's why we go and poach them. Then they come, and then they fill your succession plan or ladder for you. And so when you are going to poach, it's not just poaching because but it's going to fit into your plan. And that is very, very important. And that's why I also talked about cross-functional roles, so that if you don't have it in your team, who has moved across 4, 3, 2 functions and can perform in that role? You need to ask that. So it must be very intentional. The successors, selection of successor must be intentional, and the development must also be focused on to have that. Let me give one example. I was working for a certain organization, and this action that the CEO took was so weird. And I was in HR, and one of our best person came and he said, "You want to resign?" "Oh, why?" He said, "Yes, I want to resign. I want to go to this organization." "Oh, why? Is it money? Let's increase it." I said, no, it's not money. I want to go. And then we told the CEO, and he said, "Oh, he's going to this place. Allow." I said, "Why?" I said, "Allow. But I want you to watch. After 2 years, we will bring the person back." And I said, "Oh, sir, why?" He said, "No, we need that exposure. Where he's going, it's a new business area we also want to go. So we need somebody to go there. Our leg must be in that market, so that when we are ready, we can also bring the person." And so we allow the person to go. But we have that person on our succession plan. Exactly 2 years, we brought the person. And we met the person's needs. So sometimes it's so intentional. And then when he came, he improved the quality of work, and then improved our revenue so much, because he knew that industry so well. Okay? So sometimes you need to be very flexible around it. But this one was very weird to me as a HR. I know it's normal. You should do the normal thing. But I just want to give an example to say that sometimes you may also look elsewhere. And that's why in the employment market or in your industry, make sure you know the right people, good people in other areas, and mark them. When it comes to poaching, quick, you go for them. And that's it. So successes are always not internal, coming from internal system, but they are also coming from outside. And that is very, very, very important. Okay, any other question? That was going to be. Now we are on immediate successor. Almost finishing. Immediate successor. Is that immediate successor we were doing? Have we done immediate? No, let me see. Oh, immediate successor. That's the new one. We haven't, this short term, And these people are very, very critical. You need them. And for them, you need them at any time. Emergency situation, you will need them. These people are identified as having the potential to reach the upper end of management level or executive level within 2 years or less. Within just 1 year, that person can be an executive, can move on. So he's an immediate successor. Anytime the executive or whoever is not there, you just take advantage. Oh, he said sick leave, 3 days. Can you act? And then you go and do the act. Just 3 days. For the person to be exposed to the vigors of this position and then learn from that. Immediate successor. Leave. Such a person will be used and all that. Evidence of strong leadership capabilities. Good training, coaching skills, strong company values, and a team player. Such a person, describing somebody like this, they will expect that is in the pool, immediate successor pool. So if you're a immediate successor, you are not just there because you've been there for a very long time, but you have shown some special qualities like this, and you can be an immediate successor. Sufficiently broad-skilled and experience-based to be a potential candidate for a number of management and executive positions in the organization. Okay. And sometimes when you have good people, don't just wait for one position for him. You can also look at other roles, and you can push the individual there. Okay. The person is in tune with corporate values. Immediate successor. That person, you have to rely on him to solve your problems anytime. Good. Any questions, comments on these? I'll come to one other category that is not common, and then we would move on to question time and other things. But if you have any questions about the immediate successes, fine. Okay, so when you have done all this, it helps you to do your schedule well and say that this man is an immediate successor, a short-term successor, and a long-term successor. So in the pool, you have categorized them. And at any point in time, you can pull them to go and play that role. Instead of confusing yourself by saying that, yes, you are in the pool, so you can go and do immediate successor, play the immediate successor role. No, categorize them the way we have suggested. Okay. Any question? Do I move on? Now, this one is not common. Critical retention. They may not be part of the formal schedule, but you need to think of it. Critical retention. Some people are in this category. And who are these people? Who are these people? A key person, but not able to progress beyond current job or career level, except lateral movement. You have people who are so good at their work. But if you push him up, you may have a problem. But they can play other roles at their lateral level, so you can use them. And you could see that such people are so experienced, but you cannot also sack them. You cannot just say go. Critical retention. So retain them because they are so critical to your business. And such people will train and coach others. But they cannot move up, but they can move lateral roles. Strong job performance in the current role. In his current role is very good. Anything at all that person can do. And so most of the time, I'm not saying that someone, operations people are very good at that. They are so good. If he has done operation for many years and he has not done anything in any cross-functional role, they are like, they get there and they get stuck. But they are good. They are rare apostles of their jobs, and you cannot just let them go because they can support others. So that is critical retention. Because of that, we are keeping you. Then value to the organization in the role significantly outweighs the fact that the individual may be blocking a position. That is, you could see that the value of the person is so good, so significant, and it outweighs the argument that people say that, oh, you this man, you are so grown, old man, you've done so much, you are blocking the chances of young people. We have young people, they cannot be promoted because of you and all that. But the person's value outweighs the argument that is blocking some rules. Because if you let him go, you might have a problem because you want him to coach and train others before going. And so we call them critical retention. Critical retention. You don't have some in your organization, Frances? Patience. Yeah, some of them, you see, some of them, they may be good, but you can do away with them. Then you don't have a problem. But others, you cannot do away. They've done the job, they know it. And they can direct, fill in the emergency situation or coach others. So why do you let the person go? Let him complete his job by coaching others and getting others replicated of your characteristics. So management will say that, yes, he's grown, energy is not that high, but anytime we call on him, he will just pull it off like that. Anytime we have a problem, he's the only person who can identify the problem for us. And so why don't we keep him for another year or two for him to transfer training to others? And that is it. So when you are keeping critical retention people, don't just keep them. Let them reproduce themselves in the system. Coach others. Good. Frances?
Yes, Doc. Only last week at the management meeting, the executive chef was talking about one of the stewards. He's not old. He was even asking me when he's about retiring and whether we can do early retirement. When I checked his records too, I said to him, oh, he's not even 50, but if it's too much working in one of the work locations where he has to be lifting stuff, and he can't. The executive chef said he's ready to use him in the kitchen in the second work location as a commie. So that is the entry level for the chefs. So he sees that he's interested in cooking. So instead of using him now as a steward, he's been with us for more than 12 years. He would rather have him in the other side of the location as a commie. That's the entry level for the chef, so that he can train him on the cooking, because he sees that he's also very, very meticulous, trying to clean the garlic and all of that. So listening to you, that's just what came to mind. Only last week on the 23rd, we discussed this employee, that he's good at what he does, but now we can't just say that because you can't lift bags of rice and all of that, we have to let you go. So he's deciding to use him in the kitchen in the second work location. It's a bigger property, but because he'll be cooking and learning on the job, it wouldn't be as stressful for him as in the second work location where he has to be lifting stuff and he's a bit slow now.
Very good. Very good. So that is the job of the HR. Look hard, and save resources for the organization. And let the person train people, others, and impart the value that he has. But young people, if you are training them and telling them, for your days are gone, But okay, thank you very much, Frances. Good. Any other comment? Let us move on to monitoring process for succession planning. You need to monitor, else you may not be able to do what you are supposed to do. The Corporate Executive Management Committee will report to the Board Human Resources Subcommittee through the MD quarterly. What we are saying is that at the corporate level, we need to report. The committees will have to report to the Board Human Resources Subcommittee through the MD quarterly. So you will do it, but the board should know what you are doing down there. And also the departmental level, at the departmental level, committee will report to the Corporate Executive Management Committee quarterly through the department heads. And sincerely, whether biannually or whatever, will be determined by the organization. Again, each committee member will have, as part of annual KPI, the activities of the succession planning committee. Each committee member. So for you to get the committee members to perform very well, you need to make it as part of their KPI, that you are on the succession planning committee. But look, we will also add it to your performance evaluation. It's part of your... So if you perform well at the committee, you contribute well and all that, we will take that one into consideration and say that is part of your KPI. When you don't do it that way, you won't hook them on. They will never perform the way you want it. But when they know that, hey, I'm going to be measured by that, by me attending the committee meetings, by me supplying the data as they want it and all that, they won't even come. I'm for another meeting, even though you have given them notice well ahead of time. But when they know that is part of the KPI, you would get them to do a very good job. And this is a trick for all the executives. If you want them to do something voluntarily or commit to something, let it be part of their KPI. So that they will be evaluated based on that. So it's so important. Okay. Evaluation of the effectiveness of succession planning. How will you know that your succession planning is working? And is that successors are experiencing greater motivation and job satisfaction as a result of acquiring and using new learning. If successors are having greater motivation, you will see it. If they are not motivated, and I'm not saying I give them money, but when they see that they've been given some project to do, when they see that they've been nominated to take care of something, they feel good about it. Then that the committees meet regularly, then you know your succession planning is going on. We are saying 2 times in a year, or 3 times in a year, or 4 times in a year. But in the whole year, you've seen only once. Only one meeting. And that means you are not doing well. But if they meet all the time, as you have planned in your schedule, then you will know that your succession planning is really going well. And it's up to HR to make sure that when the time comes, you call for that meeting. That the organization believes and have performance culture environment. When you have performance culture environment, people will want to perform and want to be be special people in the eyes of the organization. And that works so well, so well, so well, so well. Good. Any questions, comments? Okay, questions and answers. Do you have any general questions, comments? It may relate to this or not relate to this, and so that we can all have something to take home. Final questions, comments? Blossom, are you okay? You don't have last minute questions?
I'm okay, doctor. Thank you very much.
Okay, we are closing. So, and my good friend Frances, any last minute question?
Oh, no, Doc. The only thing I wanted you to highlight further was the evaluation on the effectiveness of the succession planning, the fact that HR must ensure cultural performance environment. Sometimes HR is a bit hard up at that level, especially when you don't get the buy-in of the CEOs and the board of directors. It stifles our efforts, you know.
Thank you very much. Unique idea anybody want to share with us? Unique idea in the area of succession planning or in the area of workforce planning that you want to share with us that we have not mentioned, that you have an idea about it? Thank you very much.